Since nobody cares what I say, I must be spewing nonsense.
In my book, I explained that the towers were blown up with explosives, and Building 7 was the command center. These are serious accusations. If I am even partially correct, why would they let me sell this book and talk to you about it? Wouldn't the people who conducted this scam want to kill me?
Most people find it difficult to believe that somebody could expose a scam without the people involved trying to shut him up. Until recently, I had this same attitude. Understanding why they ignore us will help you understand how they get away with these scams. I'll explain this concept by showing you why they ignore the conspiracy people regarding Tim McVeigh and the bomb that exploded in Oklahoma City in 1995. General Ben Parton is retired now, but he was one of the military's experts on explosives. Based on his experience, he did not believe that a mixture of fertilizer and fuel oil exploding in the street could have been responsible for the pulverized concrete at the Murrah building. He felt that the distance between the truck and the building was too great. Also, the non-symmetrical damage to the building was suspicious. He decided to go to Oklahoma City and investigate for himself. Explosives create incredible pressures that can pulverize concrete and rip apart steel beams. However, the farther away a building is from an explosive, the less intense the pressure will be. Furthermore, McVeigh's bomb was a mixture of fuel oil and fertilizer, and that type of bomb does not create pressures as high as RDX. This means that McVeigh's bomb had to be even closer to the concrete than a bomb of RDX. Was McVeigh's bomb close enough to the building? General Parton calculated the pressure from McVeigh's bomb at various distances. He created this chart to show the pressures. McVeigh's truck bomb is at the bottom of this chart. The columns that supported this building are shown as solid rectangles. The red rectangles are the columns that collapsed. The collapsed columns are in the area shaded with red. The columns in this building were made of concrete with steel reinforcing rods. They did not merely fall over, rather the concrete was pulverized, exposing bare reinforcing rods. Parton's calculations show that when the blast reached the outside of the building, it was a couple thousand pounds per square inch. This would have done a lot of damage to the outside of the building and the office furniture. But his calculations show that when the blast reached the columns, the pressure was too low to pulverize the concrete. One of the columns that was pulverized was so far from the bomb that the pressure would have been only 27 pounds per square inch. Parton also points out that the damage to the building was not symmetrical. The red shading shows the non-symmetrical area. The blast of hot gas was in the shape of a sphere, so that non-symmetrical area should not have occurred. The photograph on the left side is looking up at this non-symmetrical area. There is no way to explain how the truck bomb could have carved out this indentation. The only sensible explanation is that explosives had been placed on the column that supported this section of the building, and when those explosives were detonated, the column was shattered and this section collapsed. Parton's conclusion is that demolition explosives were placed in the building, and McVeigh's truck bomb was merely to fool people into believing that McVeigh was responsible. Unless somebody can show that General Parton's calculations are wrong, the Oklahoma City bombing was a scam. Unfortunately, many people dismiss Parton on the grounds that if he was correct, the government wouldn't allow him to expose the scam. Now consider that unless somebody can show that Masson, I, and others are wrong, the September 11th attack was a sequel to the Oklahoma City bombing. The attacks were identical. For example, in Oklahoma, Tim McVeigh was the foolish patsy, a truck bomb grabbed the attention of the public, and demolition explosives that had been placed in the building before the attack were detonated while people were inside. On September 11th, Mohammed Atta was the foolish patsy, airplane crashes grabbed the attention of the public, and demolition explosives that had been placed in the buildings before the attack were detonated while people were inside. Furthermore, some of the same people and companies were used for the investigation and cleanup of both attacks, such as Gene Corley and Controlled Demolitions Incorporated. Whoever did the Oklahoma City bombing scam got away with it. This undoubtedly gave them confidence to expand to something bigger. And since they got away with the September 11th attack, they may be planning something even more spectacular. How did they get away with the Oklahoma City bombing scam? Partly by ignoring Parton. If Parton were to die in a mysterious manner, many people would suspect that he was killed because he was correct. Therefore, the best policy for the people who conducted the Oklahoma bombing scam is to ignore Parton, which creates the impression that he is a conspiracy nut. And then they use the media to fool people into believing McVeigh destroyed the Murrah building with fertilizer and fuel oil. For example, the June 3, 2002 issue of PC Magazine, which is supposed to be about computers, carried an article by John Dvorak called Crackpots, Cranks, and Conspiracies. Dvorak ridiculed people as crackpots for believing conspiracy theories. One of his remarks about the Oklahoma City bombing: according to the websites, there were 2 explosions. No, Dvorak, according to the witnesses, there were 2 explosions. The websites merely repeat reports from local news reporters. After I published my book, I was told of a video made by Alex Jones called 911, The Road to Tyranny. This video has lots of local news reports about the Oklahoma City bombing. Some reports mention that an unexploded bomb was found inside the Murrah building, and later a second unexploded bomb was found. I suppose that if all explosives had detonated, the damage to the building would have been symmetrical. Here are a few brief samples of news reports from his video.
The Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found.
A second bomb has been found inside that federal building.
There are also reports that Tim McVeigh was not alone in that truck.
That they reveal more than one bomber.
Other reports explain that it was not McVeigh who set off the truck bomb.
That it may have been John Doe number 2, not Timothy McVeigh.
Security cameras on nearby buildings prove that McVeigh drove the truck and then walked away, while someone else in the truck did the work. The FBI even admits the security video exists.
The FBI also confirmed those tapes exist.
As you might expect, the FBI will not let us see those security videos. Could it be the same reason the military refuses to let us see the security video at the Pentagon? Why did these news reporters provide evidence that the Oklahoma City bombing was a scam? Are they crackpots? Conspiracy nuts? No, the bombing was simply a sloppy scam. Witnesses heard 2 or 3 explosions, security cameras saw that Tim McVeigh was a patsy, and some explosives failed to detonate. It was a messy scam, and the people involved had a lot of work to do to cover up the mess. During that time, some of the local reporters were giving honest news reports. However, the national news reporters provided us with the official government lies. The professionals who make millions of dollars per year never let the truth slip out. Pat Shannon provides more evidence that the bombing was a scam. His video has lots of interviews, such as witnesses of the bombing and General Parton. This brings me to the reason I brought up the Oklahoma City bombing. Since 1995, lots of people have been providing evidence that the Oklahoma City bombing is a scam. However, David Porter and millions of other people dismiss these conspiracy theories on the grounds that nobody would be allowed to expose a scam. The truth can be put in front of people's faces, but most people will dismiss it as a conspiracy theory if only a minority of people believe it. People, and most animals, follow each other rather than wander through life alone. This is most obvious with our hair and clothing styles. If we had good leadership, our desire to follow each other would unify us and keep us working for useful causes. For example, our government could lead the people into building nice cities with nice train systems. We could make a wonderful world for ourselves.